your hands up if you've ever taken a grant or scholarship or applied for one. Keep your hand up if you enjoyed the process and application. Okay, so when I first came to Stanford Summer School, I had a conversation with my good friend Edgar, and I found out that he'd applied for 3 student grants from the US government, and he said they were quite problematic. He said, firstly, they were time consuming. Secondly, they were hard to find. So we thought we'd have a look at this problem in a little bit more detail. So first of all, we realized that time is very important to students. And the average student grant takes around 3 weeks to process. We also realized that there's a lot of waste. So each year, a lot of grants go unused, to the tune of about $1 billion in US student grants. We also saw that there's a trend. So the average student spends about 3 hours a day on their mobile. And we came up with a solution. We wanted to build the Tinder for grants. StuFunder, a mobile app where you can apply for a grant in one swipe. And our goal is to make a 3-second grant application. So how does it work? So on this side we have the students. They use StuFunder to access foundations that give grants. And when we spoke to some foundations, we realized that one of their biggest problems is that they don't have the time or expertise to market to the students. And on the other side, we realized that the students find it quite hard and time-consuming to get through to the student grants. So we wanted to create a solution, Tinder for grants. So the existing user experience when applying for a grant can look something like this. We want to make it look like this, where there's less data and less time. So our team is committed to a grant in 3 seconds. That's our goal. And we have the competence to achieve this. And for students here, we're happy to extend a beta test. The URL is stufunder.com. Thank you very much. We're happy to take questions.
Wow, see your pants. That's nice. Okay. Well, I'm just going to jump in right away and say that you guys did a really good job of communicating the basic sort of, it's like X meets Y. That was good. And the vision's great. Very memorable, very simple. I'd love to know a little bit more about who you spoke with at the grant awarding foundations.
Sure. So we spoke to about 10 foundations, and we wanted to know what some of their problems were. Initially, we thought we'd start with Stanford. So we had a chat to the director of finance there and asked what their process is like. They said it's pretty good. So we thought, from their feedback, they recommended to go to some of these foundations. They said that they are lacking the expertise to access a large market of students. They might not know how to approach that.
And just to add on to what Kingsley said, I had a chance to speak with the Women's Foundation of California. It happens to be in Oakland. And from there, we learned that they are happy to extend scholarship programs for women. And in total, they have like 200 of these applications, 200 of these scholarships that they're willing to offer. Yeah. But out of these 200, they only offer 60. And our question was, why is there a waste of these 160 other scholarships? You could have given it to other students from Berkeley, Stanford, or wherever. And the simple answer was, like our team consists of, like, it's a non-profit organization, one thing, and we really do not want to bear the marketing expenses on their own. And then we also happened to talk to them about, like, what if we provide a free platform for you, we market on your behalf, and like these scholarships are more readily available for other students. Would you go for it? And they said yes. And there, I would like to quote Stacy Kethen. Stacy Kethen from the Women's Foundation of California. She said that I see like within 7 years, everything is going to be on phone, and we would love to do partnership with you. But we really want you to give the demo.
Okay, so what I'm trying to get at is that the person that you speak with at the foundation is the most important thing about speaking to a foundation. Because if you're not talking to somebody with budget authority, then they're nobody. And if I'd just love to understand. First of all, we have a main difference, which is there are two major categories of scholarships, right? There's merit and need. So I'm assuming that you guys are talking about merit-based scholarships.
Yes.
Well, is that correct?
The way it's going to work is like, for instance, when you use Tinder, for instance, your user experience doesn't really guarantee that you're going to meet someone and you're going to find the love of your life, right? But you can look for options. So if we look at the research we did about the $1 billion of unused funds for students, we are trying to match here supply and demand. And we're not going to be able to guarantee that 100% you're going to get a scholarship or grant, or what kind of scholarship or grant you're going to get. But we're enforcing or improving the user experience on the process.
From their perspective, a lot of these foundations aren't getting a lot of people applying, basically.
Yeah,
so,
no, I believe that part.
Yeah.
I think what I'm trying to say is there's a tension between making something easier, right, and then using it as originally the concept of the application is to figure out who is worthy of the scholarship. Presumably, the functionality of my thumb is not the primary criterion for whether or not I'm a good scholarship recipient, right?
Sure.
So if I can do that or that shouldn't.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so to take that to an actual level, like, how do you promise foundations that are actually spending money effectively?
Before even we,
Okay.
can we go to the appendixes to show the market as well? Like, for the question is like, how do we make it like more durable, and what's the criteria behind it? Is it the qualification or the sports?
Not so much more durable. I'm just thinking about how do you make it. How do you make sure that you address the concerns of the people in the scholarship foundations who have the responsibility, the sort of almost a fiduciary responsibility to show that their money goes to the right people?
Initially, the form's going to be the same. We don't want to cut stuff out initially. We want to automate a lot of the same sort of questions that they ask, i.e. Name, location, date of birth, university, some of these trivial things that people have to enter on multiple grants. So we want to start building up a profile of each student so that if they want to apply for another one, there's less data each time.
Yeah. So like whenever
So the first time there's a lot of data.
The first time, yeah.
And now
not
they're
a lot of
applying
data
for
because we're syncing it with LinkedIn and Facebook, so that gets like most of your data. It gets your nationality, the race as well. Because when we were doing some market research, we found that there are a lot of scholarships that are based on the races as well. Like we came up with the scholarship that's offered in Stanford that's called a Negro scholarship. So that's offered to people from Africa as well. So like when you are directly linked with LinkedIn or directly linked with a couple of other social media platforms, your race is already there, your name is already there. The only thing we're going to offer or we're going to ask for is your GPA and a couple of your probably transcripts, because we want to make sure that like we are providing like the actual 100% guarantee towards the people behind who are offering these scholarships. We want to make sure we want to establish the credibility and make sure that these scholarships are going to the right people.
So how are you going to verify GPA?
The quality is probably the biggest challenge. So that's in making something easier. We don't want to reduce the quality. So that's going to be our biggest challenge. So
that's kind of more what I want to hear. Just in general, don't try to talk me out of the question.
Yeah.
Address the concern head on.
So the quality is the biggest.
It's just the nature of the beast. If you reduce the barriers, you're going to get a larger flow of people
Exactly.
onto the system. I'm also a little unclear about how using LinkedIn or Facebook APIs. Well, I mean, I get how that's going to allow you to grab all the data that you need, but I'm a little unclear about how there's no like common core application for scholarships. I mean, it's kind of what you're trying to create in some way on the back end. Have you tried to even figure out what an integration looks like on one of these old clunky enterprise scholarship application
So before how we
websites?
address that, initially we want to make it super simple. So we would include the exact same form that they use. We're not going to take anything away initially. We want to have the exact same stuff they're using. But instead of going to a database, it's going to go to their email. So it's going to be one email per student. And that's a better way, we think, to initially address the data issue. So create a super simple form, version 1, super simple form with all of their information they need on the mobile. And then when they click submit, it goes to an email to them. So that's the first version.
Okay. The last question I'll ask before I turn it over to the rest of the students, it's